Another thing that's really important to think about is what we call a confirmation bias. And a bias is this confirmation bias. I'll talk about it in a bit more detail, but essentially there's 101, they're called cognitive biases, about 101 of them. And they are biases that are part of our subconscious. And what happens is there's a processing that happens by the subconscious when it takes in information, and it automatically kind of applies these filters or these rules to it. Remember, the subconscious is just black and white. So there's a lot of things that cognitively we don't even recognize happening in this subconscious. So an example here would be a confirmation bias. And what this is, and you see it all the time once you know what you're looking for, is you will now see facts, or at least you'll interpret facts, you'll interpret situations, you'll interpret life based on your preconceived ideas and notions around that. So an example would be, let's say that, my buddy Evan's, he's a good guy, and everyone says he's a good guy, but so he does something, and from the outside, maybe it's not super good, okay, whatever it might be. Well, if I have a confirmation bias, I'll actually see the positive in that. Right? I'll be, well, yeah, but he's a good guy. He was kind of forced to do that. I totally don't blame him. But if you have a bias against Evan, then whatever he does, it doesn't matter, will be confirmed by your own bias. And that's why it's so difficult to argue about with somebody around politics. Not that we're going down that road, but once you kind of have an idea in your mind, just subconsciously, you're looking for things to support it. And so that's good and it's bad because you can actually use that for positive. So in terms of the model, remember that very first thought that you have after that circumstance is really, really important, because that kind of puts you on the path of path A or path B. Path A is maybe positivity. Path B is negativity. So confirmation bias isn't necessarily even bad. It just is, right? It just is. But if we recognize it, then we can actually use it to our